Hello everyone, this is Griffin Station back here with another BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle video, and in this video I just want to give my overall impressions and thoughts on the new content that we got in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Now, first off, obviously, the main big thing I want to say is new with this new update with the new Volume 7 characters is the fact that we're getting a whole new fate added into BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. And that comes with the character of Heart Aino. She is from a new series, Arcana Heart, which has not been in a BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle game before, and so it's really exciting to see that we're getting new series, and potentially new series down the line as things are starting to point towards, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'll talk about that in a future video. Right now I specifically want to talk about this DLC, and that is something that I really appreciated about these new DLC characters. Not only are they focusing on the series that they've had in the game so far, with Under Night and Birth, we've had BlazBlue, we've had Ruby, and we have had Persona. So it is nice to see that other series outside of those four series are also going to start getting some love. As a person that just loves to see different franchises cross over and see those interactions happen, this is probably one of my greatest happinesses that I've grown from playing this new game. And so having Heart is one major plus for me. Now, some other things to note with these characters, since the main focus of this new update are the characters, are that they all play extremely differently, but they also are super fun to play individually, as well as if you pair them up with the new characters that we got. And out of all of these characters, I thought Heart would be my favorite just from playing her briefly a couple months ago, as well as just seeing other gameplay of her. But actually, the character that I've drawn to the most is Seth. Seth, I don't know why, but he is super quick, he's super fun, maybe he is just overpowered. I played a couple of online matches, and in all of the matches that I played against Seth, Seth was pretty OP. So maybe it's just a situation of him being overpowered, who knows, but I really enjoyed playing Seth. We'll have to see how the power scaling dips in terms of the next coming weeks to see if Seth will still be a high-ranking character or if he actually is low tier and people just don't know how to play against him yet. Naoto, probably the character that I struggled with the most to understand how to play. I started understanding how to play him after a couple games, but definitely the hardest for me to get behind. He was still fun to play, and I definitely will play him against friends, but I don't necessarily think I'll be taking him online just because I don't think I will be too successful with him. I know a lot of you guys are fans of Naoto, and I am just glad that he is in this game, and I'm sure you guys are too, and even if he might be the hardest character to master out of the four characters in this DLC, maybe I'm just bad at him, maybe he's not hard to master, but I think he's sort of hard to master, so even if he is hard to master, I think you guys will enjoy him, and fans of the character will be pleased. Now, as far as Teddy is super fun, another great addition to this roster, and also, I believe, pretty powerful if in the right hands. I was pretty good at him when I first picked him up. I think he is pretty easy to pick up overall for new players of the game, and also for players that have been playing for a while ever since release. Definitely is pretty strong, can get out of a lot of tough situations, and overall is just a lot of fun to play. So if you're looking for a really fun and a really unique character, definitely pull out Teddy. Teddy is really intriguing, not only gameplay-wise, but visually. Now, as far as the other content, personally, I was actually expecting maybe we would get a story update with all these new characters being added, especially Heart Aino from Arcana Heart, because in the story mode, all we got were the four original series that were in the game. So I was thinking, well, you know, there might have not been precedence to bring those new story content with the previous DLC since no new series were being added, but since we're getting new series now, I was sort of expecting maybe that we would get a new update in terms of the story mode as well, and I am sort of disappointed that we didn't get a new story, but maybe, who knows, maybe when we get more series in the game, after we get, let's say, through volume 12, that might be a bit of a stretch. We might only get to volume 10, depending on how well the DLC cycle will live on, considering they aren't really charging people for these new DLC characters. So we'll see how far the DLC cycle goes, but as far as getting new series, if we do get new series in the future volumes, which I will be discussing in a separate video, I think that we could be potentially seeing more story updates once all those series are added. It will add a lot more variety, and maybe they didn't want to just have small segments of story being added here and there. They wanted to do a full big update on story. And if they do update the story, that would be really cool. I can understand why they wouldn't update the story, only because it's not the main focus of the game. The main focus of the game is the fighting mechanics, playing against friends online, playing ranked online. It's not really focused on having people go through the story mode again after their initial playthrough. The story mode is mostly there to serve sort of like a tutorial, and then after, if you don't really want to even play the story mode, there is a tutorial mode. So I can understand why they wouldn't make new story content, but I would like to see it there nonetheless for the single player players out there, because personally for me, I am not too big of an online player. I like to play with friends, but mostly I like to play single player games. I like to experience the story and experience why these characters in, let's say, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle would be coming together in this world, and I feel they did a really good job in their story mode when they launched the game, and I feel they could do equally as good of a job releasing a new update with the story mode when more DLC characters come out. And so when I loaded up the game and saw the DLC was installed, I immediately checked to see if there's new story. There wasn't, so I was a little disappointed with that. And so that's just my thoughts on there being no DLC story being added in this DLC, but I don't necessarily think it eliminates the possibility of future DLC not having story included in it, and then after just releasing a bunch of story in one pack. Now, as far as the rest of it, I did get to also play some of the training mode with the new character Heart Aino. Personally, I have a hard time figuring out how to exactly do it, especially when I'm streaming and when I'm trying to interact with the chat. I mess up a lot, and so it's a little bit difficult for me to get every single move down, but I did appreciate that they added all of those characters as they did with the previous DLC as well. It makes sense. You want people to get invested in these new characters and be able to learn them quickly. And as my experience when I went online, people did know how to play these characters. Obviously, people will grow as the week and the months go on, considering this is just basically week 1 of the characters being released, but it does give people a running start into getting into these characters and not just being like, well, I've had a year playing these characters, so why should I focus on these new characters when I already am super good at these characters? It gives a fresh new experience, and it gives incentivation for people to go and try out the new characters, try out their playstyles, see what meshes well with certain teams, and honestly is just a super fun addition to the game. Now, my verdict of this new DLC: I think it is a strong addition to the BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle system and also just the game in general. I do think that people that have left the game, it might not be an incentive for them to come back, but considering it is free, it can bring people back, and that's the main thing that people should be focusing on. If you've already bought all the DLC characters, or if you've already gotten the all-in-one pack, you have all these characters already, so it's new content basically for free. And if you don't have the characters already, you could just spend the 20 extra bucks to purchase the full game, and you'll get the characters, and you'll get any future, probably. I say this, and I'm not 100% certain on this, but I'm sure they'll update it so in the future when they release new content, it will include their future DLC. Because I can't just imagine them being like, this is your only free DLC. But that's just how I feel about it. I think it is great incentive. It brings a lot of new life. I do think that it is lacking something like an arcade mode, but I think that the survival mode is enough of a solo, offline, single-player game mode that people that play offline will be content, and I think having these new characters will also incentivize people that haven't came back to the game before to come back now and try them out online and on ranked after they've played them offline for a bit. I personally really like this update, and I would like to hear what you guys have to think about this update in the comment section down below. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more BlazBlue content, as well as other games such as Jump Force and Kill the Game If, and any other games by Arc System Works, or other anime games that might be announced at E3, I am going to be covering E3 on my channel. But we will have to see how that works out with my schedule. I do have finals the week of E3, and so it might not work, especially at the beginning of E3, but I think by the time my finals end, and then after I get situated back at my house, I will be able to cover E3 to the fullest extent. So if you want to see all that coverage, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one, or in my next live stream. Bye!